Xavier Porter does a great job with Brooklyn Fights, our official sponsor of our weekly boxing segment. Check him out online, brooklynfights.com. In-depth, hard-hitting, passionate boxing content, in-depth features, interviews. Got a ton of stuff going on. Check him out online, brooklynfights.com. And I'll tell you, it was an interesting weekend in the world of boxing. And I'll say this, Xavier, scoring in boxing, it is what it is. We'll get into that. But let's get into the Berto and Ortiz madness, if you will. Talk about a short fight. You blink of an eye. Berto goes down. Ortiz goes down in the third. Then he can come back for the fourth. And we saw what happened in that one and how it transpired. When I had you on last week, I thought we both believed that maybe this was going to be a nice defining moment for Victor Ortiz. But what was your takeaway from that fight?
Yes, last week we both agreed on that. The fight was actually a pretty good fight. Victor Ortiz looked pretty good. I just think he kind of got too comfortable, and Berto just kept his composure and just timed him perfectly. Actually, I believe if Victor Ortiz would have been in the ring throughout the years, even after his losses, and just stayed consistent, he might have been able to pull off the win that we both thought would happen. Victor Ortiz, he looked very good. He was moving well. He was basically outboxing Berto to the fourth round, and that right uppercut was like, wow. It just came out of nowhere, and everybody was shocked, or rather. So it was actually a really good fight. And to Ortiz's credit, which I was very upset at the fans at the end of the fight.
Agree.
He didn't quit. He got up. He didn't clinch. He actually fought back. He tried his best to fight somebody who sensed blood, and he did his best to try to, come back at Berto, but he just was out of it. That right uppercut was a powerful shot. He caught him square in the chin with it, on the jaw rather. And I just think that, Victor Ortiz, he did his best. He just came up short this time. And I would like to see Victor Ortiz again, honestly, maybe against someone like a Robert Guerrero,
Yeah, well, again, then the argument is if he beats Guerrero, they're going to say Guerrero was a shot fighter as well. But listen, I know your line of thinking. I wholeheartedly agree. And what the fans said afterwards is a flat out disgrace. Look, you can call guys bums and they lay down and this and that, but the guys that do that are the guys that sit and they do the social media, they tweet, they hang out in their parents' basement. They've never gotten punched in the face, so you really can't put too much stock into what they're saying. All right, let's move on. I'll tell you what, the DeGale and the Porky Medina fight, I thought that was a really, really great fight. And the fact that Medina gave James everything he can handle. You talk about a physical fight. Did you? How did you score this one? I actually scored it 116-112. I'm just curious, how did you score it?
I scored it 115-113. Okay. All the way from James DeGale. I think he did it. I think he did just enough to pull out the victory. He just showed that he wanted it a little bit more. He just used certain angles, and he was able to get certain shots off to show me that he was the better boxer that night. He controlled the ring the way he was supposed to, and so I think he fought well. I think Medina showed a lot of people who probably didn't know about Porky Medina before. His name is definitely going to be called for another fight in the future. So I think it was a pretty good fight, and it sets up a great matchup for him and Badou Jack, which I thought was I actually thought it was a pretty good call also as a draw. I think they both did just enough, and they were evenly matched. It was an evenly fought fight. So if they're able to match up DeGale with Badou Jack, that would be great to unify the belts. Or we can also look at the fact that we can have the Durrell brothers fight the opposite opponents.
Yep.
Andre fought DeGale and Anthony fought Badou Jack. So how about we switch that around and let Andre fight Badou and let Anthony fight DeGale?
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because I covered both the Durrell fights in AC last week, and I'll talk to Anthony later on, probably on Friday, and you're absolutely right. I mean, all of a sudden, you have to put their name right there. I mean, it's not like anyone forgot about them. Hey, and here's the thing. I mean, think about this for a minute, too. You look at who they fought, and when Anthony fought Blake, just totally overwhelmed him, right? Just kind of jumped on him. But then you look at Andre's fight and you say to yourself, wow, man, here's a guy that drops Kovala and drops Andre. So it's like it was kind of in that wild fashion. I love the fact that Showtime, though, I like that they set up that little mini tournament, if you will. I just like it because when you unify the belts, there's more on the line, right? There's more on the line. These guys want to fight each other.
There's more action. It's more relevant. You get fighters who are passionate, like how Andre was at the end of his fight.
Yep.
You know, you see the realness come out of the fighter, not just, you know, people just watch and say, okay, this guy goes in the ring. You actually see the real passion, and the guy actually wants it. So definitely, I would love to see a tournament in each division if possible.
Yeah, and then, you know, because then the next thing what's going to happen is they probably, I don't want to say they have to eliminate some of the regional belts. I think people don't understand just how important regional belts are, because regardless, like I've talked about this on the air for years with people, NABA, NABO, NABF, they all have affiliations, right, to the WBA, WBC, WBO. So you win that belt, all of a sudden you have to turn around, you get 6 months to try to defend that belt, but it also gives you a crack at the top 10 or top 15 in the world, depending upon, you know, what rating system or sanctioning body. So, boxing certainly should take a look at that. I know a lot of fans will be taking a look at the Canelo and the Khan fight this weekend, PPV. I think at the end of the day, and again, a couple minutes with Xavier Porter from BrooklynFights.com, Canelo can't walk down every opponent. And the first thing that stands out is his power, yes, but the speed of Khan. And I think the speed of Khan can help Khan kind of hang in this fight. I mean, early handicapped this fight for me. You're going knockout. I feel it. When you do that sigh, I know you're about to say knockout, stoppage.
I say this fight is going maybe 6 to 7 rounds the most, and depending on how well Khan's conditioning holds up, it can go longer. But I am going to predict a knockout for Canelo. You know, I think Khan we all know Khan has great speed. He can move around the ring. He boxes very well. He has a great reach. His jab is superb. I just think at this weight, you know, Canelo's been fighting at this weight, even though he's not a official 160 as he says. He's been fighting at this weight for quite some time, and so I think he'll be able to kind of like basically pinpoint his shots accurately and able to kind of withstand the early speed that Khan presents. Because after 4 or 5 rounds, Khan is flat in the water, and that's when Canelo's going to go to work.
Yeah, but you don't think with new trainer, change of camp, change of style, lifestyle, more motivation, that this is something that he's prepared for? And speaking of Khan,
I think he's very determined. I think he's very focused. He's done a lot to change his ways in the ring to be successful. You know, Virgil Hunter has done a great job with him, but I just think right now at this level for Canelo, this is it, and you know he's going to make a statement with this fight.
If Khan were to win this, would you put him up there with some of the great British fighters of all time?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah. So you think Khan goes into this as a heavy underdog? No.
I think he goes into this maybe 2-1, 3-1. You know, because you can't diminish or take away what he's done in his career thus far. He's a former champion himself. He's defeated other great fighters, and in good fashion. You know, so and he possesses, like I said, great boxing skill. And I believe he's an Olympian. So. You know, I think definitely he's a good fighter.
Here's I guess the issue. It's not the issue, but when I look at this, when I take a step back and I look at this fight, if you're Amir Khan, what you don't want to do is get involved in a slugfest.
Not at all.
You have to use movement to stay out of trouble. You got to establish the jab, your reach, your distance, and you cannot be baited by Canelo. If he's baited, then yes, I agree with you. He's hitting the canvas. Now, the other thing that's interesting, too, people look at Khan, he's still 29, but yet Alvarez is 25. Alvarez has had 48 fights in his career, Khan only 34. I guess it kind of it goes to my next question. It seems as though people forgot about Amir Khan. Like, remember years ago, he was the next star in boxing, and now it's almost like, oh, Amir Khan, here we go, this, that, the other thing. Yeah, the guy's going to get knocked out. He's got a glass jaw.
Well, his jaw has been exposed on a few occasions. He's battle tested. You know, he's been in there with a lot of good fighters. I just think right now, you know, with Canelo, he's at a different plateau, and with the level of fights that he's had, the 48 fights, even though a lot of those were in Mexico, it's prepared him to where he's at now. And anybody that fights Floyd Mayweather, they definitely learn something. So he's definitely going to come in the ring with that.
The only other fight on that card that it's a solid card. Curtis Stevens. I'm more interested in Tapia Lemieux because I always like Glenn Tapia, and I think Glenn Tapia gets a bad rap because he always steps up. And I think people look at the one fight versus Kirkland, where everyone knows that Steve Smoger probably jumped in a little too fast or too slow, and Tapia was overwhelmed in that fight. But to me, he just kind of quietly has gone about his business. But I do like this. I do like this matchup because I think both very solid fighters, and to me, that's an intriguing one on the undercard as well.
Honestly, I think this is a career-defining fight for both of them. I think with Lemieux, everybody knows how powerful he is as a puncher, but how good is he as a boxer. And Triple G exposed him, in my opinion. He exposed him as the fighter that he is. So has he coming into this fight with Tapia, who's always been a good all-around skilled boxer? Has he learned anything from fighting Triple G? Has he changed anything in the camp? What are we going to see? Are we going to see the same David Lemieux that comes forward to just those power shots? Or are we going to see David Lemieux box? Hopefully get a second chance at Triple G.
See, the problem, though, with Tapia, first and foremost, compact fighter, loves to just be aggressive, but he's also a fighter where he's so stubborn, he'll turn around, he'll throw 2, but he'll absorb 3, and we saw it in the Soto fight. It was a barrage of headshots that just did him in, and he staggered around the ring, and he wasn't able to clear his head. The last thing you want is to watch Tapia get teed off, and because you're right, he's still a relatively young guy, but the way he fights, high-volume puncher, but he also takes a lot of shots.
Yes, he does, and that's not good for any boxer.
No.
That's our careers end very fast.
A couple more before I let you get out of here. I know Floyd Mayweather left open the door. We can talk Pandora's box, open up a little bit, that maybe one more fight. Come on, man. He's got no one to fight. There's no one left. He's not going to 160.
Actually, I was thinking when he said what he said, depending on the result of this Canelo and Khan fight, I think that's the fight to be made for him. I think he says 9 figures. The only person he's going to get 9 figures from right now is either Canelo or Triple G. And, I highly doubt that he'll come back to fight Triple G. I really highly doubt that. But I do think he might come back to fight Canelo if Canelo pulls off this victory. And knowing the way boxing is, knowing who Floyd Mayweather is, the WBC can step aside and say, hey, let's make this fight happen.
I'm telling you right now, I don't see it happening. I don't. Look, at the end of the day, if the money is on the table, yes. I just think we would see what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 Mayweather fights. I think we'd see a lot of dancing, a lot of hugging, and he's still a brilliant boxer, but I didn't think it would be an entertaining fight. That's just my opinion.
It would be tougher. No, I think it would be tougher because Floyd has been out the ring for some time. Floyd has gotten older.
Yeah, but you still got to throw. You still got to engage, right?
I think depending on how Canelo does in this fight, if the fight is made and Canelo's successful and keeps his belt, and they sanction this fight for him to go for his 50th win for the middleweight title, that would be awesome. That's not just the candle on the cake. That's the candle on the cherry or whatever else you need to go and then you'll really be the TBE to a lot of people. Yeah,
well, tell me when that pay-per-view is going to be $150 instead of $75. Listen, Woody, anything you covering anything? Where are you going to be? What do you got working on the site? Anything that we should know?
Yeah, we're going to be working on some things with Gleason's Gym. We're going to help out and cover the charity event that they're having. We're also looking to cover the May 27th card up in Niagara Falls with Big Baby, Greg, GCP, Keith Veltre, Roy Jones Jr. Promotions, Greg Cohen Promotions. And, of course, June is coming around the corner, so we'll see what happens with that because there's a lot of things taking place in June. So. Yeah,
absolutely. And Big Baby Miller, a good fighter, knockout artist. All right, my friend. Hey, listen, great stuff as always. Awesome insight. We'll talk next week on a Wednesday. Appreciate it, pal.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rich.
All right. You got it. All right. Be well. Xavier Porter from our good friends at BrooklynFights.com. We'll open it up on the other side. Don't forget hard-hitting, passionate content, good videos, good insight, good boxing analysis, not only covering Brooklyn, but the East Coast as well. 609-573-3776. We got 20 minutes to play with on a Wednesday, and then I'll carry over for the first hour of the Bash.
BrooklynFights.com is your hottest stop for in-depth boxing coverage, features, and strong opinions on the world of boxing. Covering the fight life from Brooklyn to the world stage, BrooklynFights.com delivers the inside story on today's biggest names and emerging prospects, keeping it real, never biased, and brought to you from the world capital of fighting, Brooklyn, New York. BrooklynFights.com, your newest outlet for boxing. Visit BrooklynFights.com today. BrooklynFights.com. BrooklynFights.com.